see that played out.
And here come the drops. We watch the NPL teams drop in their specific places. How do the contenders fare? And will they also kind of mix up their drops? And some of the teams have decided, we're just going to mix it up from map to map, play it, figure it out, and drop by different teams to see how they compete against them in a gunfight.
In the NPL, you hear the casters, you hear the analysts talk about how pretty much at the halfway point of the phase, it's where teams have to make those adjustments. If they haven't been thinking about them already, that is the critical time, at least in this 4-week phase for the NPLC, where you have to make those choices. So it's going to be very critical that some of these teams on the bottom side of the leaderboards make those changes and that we see them. Some changes already being made. GGWP's Finna trying to drop here in Gatka, but he will be caught out by THC's Charity. A few nicely placed shots sending him outside of that compound to the south and on his track to find a safer place to loot.
He's just going to throw some punches there. But getting kills out the gate for sure, off the drop, super beneficial, as we just constantly are saying, kills, a huge factor in your placement.
And here's phase number 1. It will be going down towards the southwestern side of things. We have Sosnovka Island still a little bit implicated, more than likely going to be shifted out as players down south on Sosnovka start to realize that. Already making that rotation will be Aguila from Player One Esports.
Well, this is interesting. I'm looking, where did Dave's Team Dave drop? They usually dropped in Pochinki, but they are no longer there. We see Elevate as they're going to be looting up in Pochinki area. Oh, there they are, Dave, on the southwest corner there near Primorsk and the surrounding area.
Yeah, here's Dave and the new addition to this team, Caden, going to be looting up in the cafe in Primorsk. So an interesting split. This is sort of something that we talked about on the very first week of the NPLC, Lucy. It's how teams will mimic the drops of other teams that aren't in their lobby, specifically drops from Tier 1 teams that seem to be working out so well. These Tier 1 teams, they've researched it. They know exactly where the rotation paths are. And I think that's what Mustache Dave's team might be doing right now, giving up Pochinki. Yes, it's going to be occupied. Why take those early outs when you don't necessarily have to?
Because they're 1 point per kill, Phil. Got to be confident in your gunplay, but I just want to point out Crew. We've got Team Crew up there at the top. They're in a 2-2 split. Severny and Zarky pretty far from each other, but luckily for them, they've got nobody contesting their position and no fear of what is to come.
Yeah, nobody will be contesting their position. That is certainly an important part of these drops, but right off the bat, I mean, we're starting to see at least some movement, right? We talk about so often, and at least under these new rule sets that we're utilizing, how important early rotations are going to be for these teams. And although we're not in the NPL, this is the NPLC, the fact still remains, you got to make those early rotations. It's going to be played out, at least in terms of the meta, almost exactly the same.
So Crew got a good taste of what it was to play against NPL teams. They were up there pretty confident in their drop. They were the ones that actually took over past Mustache Dave's team in Group A that day. They were the ones that were 1 point ahead of Mustache Dave and made it into the finals for the Royale.
Starting to see a bit of a scout here on a pretty important compound just south of Pochinki. David from Player One Esports has been able to get there, the first of his team to do so. But we did have Grizzly up here on the hill just southeast of Pochinki. He's going to be in a perfect position to scout this out and likely see the rotation coming out of the members of Player One Esports. This might be exactly what Grizzly of Reinvent wants to see. Could be the opening of a nice compound for he and the rest of his teammates to take. But continuing on, in this scout they go, not wanting to settle for maybe a position a little bit off-center.
Thought he was going to take some shots there. So far, we haven't seen much action. We're kind of hanging out on the map overhead for a hot minute here. Going to be trying to find some action.
Player One Esports reuniting in what has been dubbed the death field, this wide open area of the map. Very hard to get to that compound if you're crossing from the north. You've got the hills to work off of if you're coming from the south. But it's not going to be easy for any more teams trying to crowd into that very wide open area. We see players get kind of choked down and caught very, very easily and very quickly.
Yeah, here we see everyone kind of diverging. We still got a team down over in Novo. Zenith also still hanging out in Milta. A lot of teams in the contenders side still hanging out on the outside of the circle.
Yeah, I mean, we're at about the 3-minute and 30-second mark of the game. This is essentially where you want to start seeing these rotations and picking up on that very quickly. A team that had a bit of a roster change, Nitrogen, coming in to fill the shoes of Soko for Trifecta, already going to be pushing up for his team out of Novo to the bridge point just on the south. A smart move to make given the fact that so many teams are on the northern side. Hades, he's pretty confident in the fact that there's not going to be another team across there to the north, but you have to play it safe, Lucy. You don't want to be caught out by an unknown.
I suppose. I'm not sure why anyone would want to rotate south on that bridge to come through into the new circle. I mean, you see that majority of that circle is on the main part of the map. So the odds are this is probably going to be moving north and off of Military Island.
Well, about 2 minutes and 47 seconds until we find out where phase number 2 will be shifting us. But over here on the hill, just southwest of Elevate's new compound, they left Pachinki and they have found safety, at least in the barns, to the north of the field where we saw Player One Esports set up. But here comes the happy campers. They're trying to get a dominant position. I think they quickly realized that there is a team in those compounds where Elevate's hanging out, but they know that they've got to watch this western angle. They can't get caught out there on that hill. Time and time again, we see teams dropped out and pretty much eliminated out of the game very quickly like that.
Yeah, they're taking a really good position here. They're trying to get in between a bunch of teams, trying to get some sight lines, seeing if they can get pop some heads from a distance. Elevate, I'm not sure if they're going to continue and progress from their spot. Looks like they're a little cozy over there. We got Keenan driving north. That's interesting. Oh, okay, we're on the west bridge. My bad. I was thinking the east for a second, and I thought, why did he rotate all the way over there? But no, it's their team, the overconfident, go ahead and move into more central of the zone.
And Keenan, the pickup, he is going to be replacing Shrimzy. Keenan, when we talk to some of these players about how they came to this decision to replace the open spot that Shrimzy left open with Keenan, they said he's an absolute fragger. He's one of the unknowns in this scene, or maybe more unknowns in this scene, not going to be picked up yet by a massive team. So, hey, he's a free pickup for them. First down, though, coming out of the game, and it's going to be a team kill, or a team knock, rather, from the Sonics.
Yeah. I love hearing this when casters say, you hate to see it. I saw that pop up in the kill feed, and I just thought, oh, man, definitely not what you want to start with, because now every consecutive down from that point, you'll bleed out faster. But it's fine. And luckily, there's nobody nearby. They were able to get all 4 back up. Good to go. And, you know, we've got an interesting rotation here. We've got Overconfident having just come off the West Bridge, but we've got Trifecta coming through. They're going to be making that same bridge move. Looks like they're going to be stopping for a crate, though. So they're going to be coming in pretty loaded.
Yeah, Hades will be signaled to go on and get that. Going to be depending on him, possibly the marksman of that squad, to get that bolt-action rifle as the blue zone starts to at least inch closer and closer to the edges of phase number 1. You're finally starting to see this rotation out of Halo Klein Gaming from Yasnaya Poyana. Given this meta, Lucy, that's an incredibly late rotation, and this might come back to sort of bite them in the butt as they try to find their way from this northern side more centralized. They're going to have to go through several different teams, some of which their other 2 teammates have already found. The other 2 members of Halo Klein Gaming, Gunner and his teammate Zodiac, have been caught out by Team Crew up on the hill. Waldo, Vac, and Mystery having a successful run in the NPL Royale. They're looking to at least bring some of those skills back into the NPLC.
Yeah, we've got, wow, they're split up? Are they 2-2'd right now, or 2-1-1? Very split, wow. And the circle is just gonna condense down, just straight donut right to the center, over to the bridge still. So we've got Trifecta still safe. They don't have to necessarily rotate off of the island just yet. So we've got GG, well played. They are currently sitting at the bottom of our leaderboard right now. They need to make some plays. If they want to start moving up, this could be an opportunity, but apparently, you know, fists do kill, but they don't kill as effectively as a gun does.
Yeah, no, GGWP, they want to make plays, but they also had to make moves. Coming into this week, bringing Finna in as the replacement on their team. At least this is what you have to start doing. You have to start looking at some of these factors and say, you know, we've all got to explore over some things, possibly with a player on our team that's not necessarily meshing. And well, at least in regards to their squad, GGWP, they said yes, and they made the change. Team Crew, though, trying to make a maneuver around the 2 members of Halo Klein Gaming. They know exactly where they are, and I think they're starting to get the impression that, hey, this might not be the entire 4-man squad of Halo Klein. Not a lot of shots have come out, and it might be an opportunity for us to kind of leapfrog and then become the gatekeepers.
Well, you know, Crew has had a little bit more experience with the NPL teams, as they had made it to the finals. So they're sitting here pretty confident, knowing that they've got Halo Klein kind of held up in that area. And it's interesting to see Duck and Kaisuko coming in so late.
Coming in late and up here on the hill that was previously being scouted out by a few teams so far in this game. Sonics, they've been able to recover off of that accidental mistake onto Smithy. And up here now in a more aggressive scouting position, they're going to be taking up a little bit of some cover. They've got the USs to work with the mobile cover, but they've also given away their position to Zenith, who has the fortunate position of hard cover, man-made compounds to work off of.
Yeah, so they're going to be getting some sight lines here on Sonics. Sonics going to go and take this back ledge or hillside. I don't know though, Phil. You just keep popping the head up over it. That's all you need is that headshot for that knock to go in effect.
Bit of a skirmish happening down here to the south between Overconfident and Denial Esports. One knock already coming out. Rift will be bleeding, forcing a bit of retreat from Trevor, who was leading the charge. Nice nades, though, coming out. Trevor able to secure that flush. 1 kill point going the way of Overconfident, and they've been able to recover. Rift, he's going to be up. They lost a bit in terms of attrition, but picking up the kill and putting a wrench in the plans of Denial off to the west of you. That's the way you want to be doing it. Another member of Denial going to be knocked. Carbon up here in the shack, so far off of the rest of his teammates, Lucy. You got to wonder, he's a lost cause at this point in time.
Yeah, that's going to be a really rough save. I think that the team has decided to just go ahead and let him be, because it's not going to be worth to risk any more lives. That leaves them down with just 2 players left, and it's only phase 2.
Well, it's only phase 2, but still making those rotations, trying to get into safety this late in the game. I mean, the early game, Lucy, the first few minutes of the game, around maybe minute mark 4 or 5, that's when you have to make these transitions. For some reason, thankfully, Halo Klein has been safe, but oh no, exactly.
Is he still in the? Oh, he's trying to push him.
Yeah, so these are next level strats. If you haven't seen that ever happen before, you certainly can push the cars over if they fall on the proper angle. But you can also throw some grenades. Sometimes grenades work, sometimes they just blow up the car.
That was interesting that Duck decided to stay in the car, though. You think that he'd want to hop out, perhaps in case somebody just happened to be looking over the edge of the, down the way. But fortunately for Halo Klein, they were able to get their Dacia up and running, and they are going to be taking position on the west side.
Phase number 3 has popped. It continues to take us further and further south, and probably not guessed by many of these teams where this circle would be going, but one team in particular that benefits a lot off of these southern shifts is going to be Trifecta. If you recall, about 12 minutes ago, they landed in Novo, and now they have made their way around the western side of Sosnovka into a pretty dominant centralized position as a fight going to be breaking out on the eastern side of the circle. In the yellows, Reinvent under siege by Zenith Esports.
We've got Reinvent coming in. They're going to be taking the west side of these yellow compounds. Zenith on the north side. We've got Lush pushing in a little bit just ahead of his squad. They're going to push a little bit aggressively as well. They're feeling confident right here, pushing up against Reinvent, who's actually sitting second place right now on the leaderboard.
CeeLo and Grizzly getting ever so close. Grenades coming out as well, but CeeLo's on the opposite side of the building of one of the members of Zenith Esports, holding this peak around the left-hand side, going to divert off of that path and now do an aggressive wrap around the eastern side of the building. It's only a matter of time before CeeLo and his teammate Grizzly find the members of Zenith, and certainly a lot of commotion happening, shots ringing in, the ammo being flung from these guns, but also grenades as well, and that's sort of stalling Reinvent in their footsteps. They don't want to over-aggress and push right into a frag.
Yeah, that's really great. That Kendo and Patron are hanging back there. Patron's going to be making a push in a little bit more, but they're going to hold that outer line of sight there so that Reinvent can't push on the other side, because as you see, they're being held up. They can't even make any other plays on Zenith.
And, well, certainly something that Zenith did not want to have happen. Another team has rolled into the mix. Sonics rotating off of that previously northern position and now finding a nice hill to at least hear these shots and possibly third party. But Greg Shot, he kicks off this engagement with a nicely placed AKM headshot. He will be taking down Lush.
Oh, that's it. Don't want to see that. I mean,
oh, the kill stolen away as well. Sonics.
Yeah. Well, they heard the shots going down, and that's why they rotated a little bit closer to see what's going on, and they got some easy kills right there, steals.
And you have to think that now Reinvent is going to be a little bit scared off this engagement. They can't over-aggress into the 2 remaining members of Zenith because, hey, there's going to be the team of Sonic sitting right there in a pretty dominant but open position to take opportunity of those shots. But here comes another team, our 4th team, to now at least travel onto this side of the map. And just as Sonics is leaving, Team Cruz shows up in the nick of time. Smithy going to be hearing these rotations coming his direction, and the shots come out back immediately. Going to be dropped by Tony V with the barrel. But here comes the other 3 members of crew. Waldo down to 22 HP. Grenades are flying down the hill from the Sonics.
Oh my goodness. We've got still all 4 Oh, no, excuse me, we've got 1 down of Sonics, but it's currently a 3v2. Oh, and things are just happening right now, Phil.
Yeah, grenades are flying and people are dying, as they say. Leda going to be knocked down as well. Leda having a huge week in the NPL Royale, but won't be able to continue on here as Team Crew is getting absolutely ripped apart. Mystery, the only remaining member of this Team Crew squad, forced to sit behind the shack, not able to even push up to the hill. And at this stage in the game, they're saying, Mystery, disengage off of this, get to a safe position, and play for placement. This game is going to be a salvage game at this stage in the game.
Yeah, we see Zenith Kendo. He's just, I guess he was either trying to look for that fight, but we see him divert towards the zone. He's going to be scouting that out, make sure it's clear for his last teammate alive, Patron. Not sure what exactly Reinvent's back there, just kind of hanging out. Sonics trying to heal up, get their team back together. They've got a hard shift here, so they're going to definitely have to be getting on the move. 10 seconds to go before phase 4 pushes in.
And THC going to be leaving that wide open shack, realizing, hey, you know, this might have been a centralized position earlier, but it's not going to be a good position for us to hold, as Low-Key Gaming getting absolutely decimated, feeling at least the brunt of the action. They're recognizing, if they hadn't before this game, they're recognizing exactly why this field is so dangerous and why you don't want to be caught out in these very unfortunate positions in this area of the map.
So wide open. We've got Player One Esports hanging out in a compound. They're holding it down really well, and they're still in the zone, and they're just taking shots at all the teams that are just going to be making themselves visible in that open field you were just speaking about.
Halo Clan Gaming facing off against a bit of confrontation, to be honest, here in the Ferry Pier, as we have a team, our first team, going to be knocked out, the Happy Campers. But Charity with a nice post-mortem grenade as well onto the members of Elevate. Elevate having a tough time up here to the north as Sonics find their shots on the Low-Key Gaming, our second team to be eliminated. The action really popping off around the map here in phase number 4 of game 1.
GG, well played, holding up in the northwest corner of this open field. I'm not exactly sure of how much cover they have for themselves, but at least, they are in the new zone, so they don't have to necessarily worry about running into any other teams to stay safe while they make their rotation in. They're already there, they're holding out Elevate, who's kind of taking a peek between Sonics and GG well played. GG well played needs these kills.
Speaking of teams that need the kills, Player One Esports, and they're going to be capitalizing on that right now, spotting a Landoon of the Sonics, trying to make a rotation over across this wide open field that has already seen so many deaths here in game 1 of week 3 NPLC. His other teammates now trying to do whatever they can to stay away out of the lines of sight of the deadly Player One Esports team, but it's not going to be enough. Smithy has been knocked. Tony V, the only remaining member of Sonics, trying to save his squad's efforts in game number 1.
Gosh, this field is so open. It is really unfortunate. We've got Sonics up there, Elevate up there, GG well played, and Player One Esports, excuse me, is just waiting for somebody to get just enough into their sideline to take the kills. It's going to be a really rough move for them. They better hope that that circle doesn't decide to leave them in too far of distance.
My question here is when Sonic's gotten that vehicle right before Lane got popped out, they elevate here, the vehicle coming their direction. They're going to be focused on GGWP on the northwestern side of the circle, but they can't forget there's going to still be a deadly squad. There's 2 players of that team off to their eastern position with pretty wide open shots should they find the lines of sight. But that next circle shift will be coming here soon, and a lot of rotations are going to have to be made with so many teams riding the edge.
Well, Player One Esports thought they might have been all right in that compound, but will also have to be moving out, which will give Sonics and Elevate and GG well played an opportunity to perhaps make it in. Same with Mustache Dave's squad. They do still have a couple buildings that are in the zone, so they don't have to go too far. GG well played going to be making that move into the zone, which is a really smart move if you think about it. The sooner you can get in there and get before everyone collapses in and you're just surrounded, the better.
Reinvent trying to make that rotation around this southern side. They know that 2 members of Denial are inside of the barn, but what they don't know about is the X Factor. Duck, the solo player from Halo Clan Gaming, still alive, still trying to continue on. 2 knocks coming out very quickly. Denial going to be 2v3ing the members of Reinvent, currently into this game in second place position, 1 point behind Mustache Dave and Lucy. Mustache Dave is still alive. They're going to be able to possibly get some points if they win out right now, though. 0 points for placement. Still 12 teams alive. You'll want to be in that top 8 mark to be able to rack up some points towards the leaderboards.
Yeah, we see that condension of teams in the northeast area. Tony V, all alone, 4 kills. That's amazing. That's really good. 7 total for the team. He's got a vehicle and he's going to try to making his way by Elevate Kenny. Oh, goodness. He tried. It was a valiant effort, but he actually kills himself.
Kills himself. He jumped out of the vehicle with very low HP. Unfortunately, the fall damage was enough to take him and the Sonics out of the game. But like you mentioned, Lucy, 7 kills for the Sonics, granted 0 points for placements. It's going to be 7 points that they can at least counter off a bad game with and hopefully come back strong in the remaining 3 games of the evening as we continue to see our teams try to fight for position. Overconfident, looking pretty good, but they have to worry about all the different flanks that could be approaching. They've got a lot of definitely to work with in this area. I'd say if you're going to be anywhere on this map in this zone, Overconfident is holding a pretty good position, not only because of all of the trees and definitely in the environment around them, but they are also very center of this zone. They're center, they're in a 2-2 split right now. They're covering as much area as possible without getting too far out of the other duo's line of sight. Ability to sort of help and provide that much needed team support in these strategic types of fights. But with the circle now shrinking, next phase going to be popping in a matter of maybe 10 to 15 seconds. Everyone's starting to inch closer and closer. The solo player from Handle Klein Duck going to be spotted out and eliminated by Hades of Trifecta.
That was going to be a rough move for Duck. I saw him coming out of that compound there, and he was all alone and having to just, again, it's open. If you're not up in this hillside with player 1 and Overconfident, it's Nade Nation.
Nade Nation right on top of Nitrogen's car. It blows up just a few meters ahead of the car, not going to be able to land that intended damage, as now Hades, he turns his attention back down to the south, was able to eliminate Halo Climb, but he's got his sights set on Denial. Disciple going to be quickly knocked. Tetra just forced to hide back, trying to smoke off his teammate, trying to get some concealment up there, but at this stage in the game, it's not going to be enough. Trifecta quickly diverting their attention back over towards the northeast.
Yeah, that's a 4 up of Trifecta versus 4 of Pi. I say Pi, I mean Player 1 Esports.
Who doesn't like Pi?
Who doesn't like Pi? I love Pi. I don't like Pi, I love Pi. Anyhow, does Player 1 Esports like Pi? We're going to find out. They're trying to move it. Aguila is going to stick back and try to hold off Trifecta so they don't make any moves on the team. Doing a good job. Trifecta still in that bottom area on the outside of the zone. Overconfident holding the new zone very comfortably as the circle had only just come down more central in this map.
But here's the thing, those shots from Player 1 Esports have drawn the attention not just of the solo player for Team Crew, Mystery, but also Overconfident, starting to look this direction. Trifecta knows exactly where Player 1 Esports is, and this is not where you want to be. In the wide open space between multiple different teams that are all trying to capitalize on this third party. Stab, he hears the shots, he sees Mystery, he says, D-Treats from Player 1 Esports, you might be putting out damage, but with a nicely placed SLR headshot, he quickly takes down the member of that squad.
Yeah, and here we see Denial also trying to make a similar rotation, or at least moving original rotation as we had seen Duck. It is really, really rough crossing this road, coming from the south side, moving up when you see all these teams having their sights on you, and Denial goes down in 7th.
To Overconfident, nonetheless, these guys are picking up kills, they're picking up squad eliminations, only 4. It's not really a sign, or not really telling of how impactful their performance has been on the lobby. Holding the center position in this 2-2 split, they've been able to pressure every different team right in the edge.
Before Dexy went down, I was just about to say that we have so many teams. Every team except for Lego Your Ego has 4 up. But now we're going to see GG Well Played going down, being double teamed by Player 1 Esports and Overconfident.
And here comes Lego Your Ego as well, getting pushed by Mustache Dave Cyanide with a nice knock on the Godspeed, but it's not going to be enough. Mustache Dave's team absolutely decimating through teams on the southwestern side of the circle. 1 squad wipe. Out goes Lego Your Ego. 4 teams remaining. Mustache Dave is going to be one of them. Still in first place position on the leaderboards coming into today. This is exactly how you want to be starting off the penultimate week of the NPLC Phase 1.
Oh my goodness. Well, we just saw Caden pop off, so he's obviously doing very well for Mustache Dave. But we have Overconfident going versus Team Dave, but all the while we've got Trifecta shooting over at Team Dave. We've got Player 1 Esports shooting over at Overconfident. It is just a gun battle happening so close. Player 1 Esports holding the new zone and everyone moving in. This is going to get bloody.
Player 1 Esports gets the zone. Overconfident, recognizing their position to hold off Mustache Dave if they quickly send Rift to secure that center, or rather circle position. Leave Keenan and Stab back to provide that overwatch. But Lucy, over here on the eastern side of things, it's looking like Trifecta going to be inching closer and closer into the members 4 still up for Player One Esports. This could be a proper 4v4 engagement in the final moments of Game 1.
Yeah, Player One Esports definitely knows Trifecta's there. Trifecta's been just to their south this entire time, but they're deciding to focus on Overconfident and just make sure the Trifecta doesn't come up on their 6. And they're just going to be holding in the angle here. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, we're over here on the Trifecta side. They've got a great little hillside and definitely to work with to keep them safe. We're about to see if that's going to keep them safe enough to get into the new zone where they need to be.
Aguila going to be holding back still the support player, the Overwatch position for his other 3 teammates. But now the members of Trifecta have crested the hill, fully exposed to the members of Player One Esports. And Filthy, with some nicely placed shots out of the M249, finds the connections he needs and takes down that player. A nice follow-up grenade will be wiping Aguila off the map. But the other teammates of Player One Esports have to be careful of this Trifecta push, but they can't forget about the threats that lie on the western side of the circle, just about 20 to 30 meters away.
Ooh, great grenade. Trifecta, I was expecting them to perhaps make a more aggressive push there as they knocked 1 initially, but they decided to actually just take it slow. They get 2 more knocks. We see Team Dave going out there in 4th place. Overconfident, Player One Esports, and Trifecta remaining teams.
And if you're overconfident, you hear these shots coming out, you gotta love it, but you also have to play off of it. If overconfident came into this engagement like it looks like they're starting to inch closer and closer, Stab just trying to get some information, they could do some real hurt to both Trifecta and the remaining member of Player One Esports, Lampalot, just trying to hold on as a solo player, trying to maybe squeeze out a 2nd place finish.
Stab, he's gonna go for it. He's plowing straight ahead. Player One Esports eliminated in 3rd. We now have 2 teams left. It was a 3v3. It's now we've got 1 down. Oh, and then the trades are going out, and everyone is still in the new zone. Phase 8 has popped. 2 versus 2.
Big grenades coming in for Stab, trying to land that lethal damage onto Nitrogen, narrowly missing the mark, but more nades will fly, trying to have that intended effect. Theris, though, he's going to be hard sticking the res onto his teammate. Nitrogen almost a few seconds away from getting back up and trying to even out these odds, because Stab is a solo player now, trying to do whatever he can, gets a nice knock on the Hades. It's going to be a 1v2 situation. Nitrogen, though, at such low HP, he's essentially out of the fight for a few seconds till those bandages, till those first aids start ticking away and giving him that health that he's going to so desperately need. Able to recover now, 75 HP on the hands of Nitrogen, but that's not going to stop Stab. If there's any member of this overconfident squad that can take out the 1v2 on Trifecta, it is certainly going to be Stab.
Yeah, he was very confident. He moved very. Oh, and this is going to be huge. He needed to get that knock in order to have a successful chance. Well, it's either one or the other, right? It's successful or it's a chance to win this right here. Oh no, they're going to diverge on top of him. It's not
going to be enough. And that's a huge 8-kill victory coming in for Trifecta to start off.